Neverending Chain by Dragon Translator. Chapter 131. The House is a Home. Stoic entered the house. He held the door opened, allowed Toothless's younglings to enter as well. All three yelped upon seeing their father laying with bandages wrapped around him and a tear in his wing. They made to rush their father, but stopped when Stoic placed himself between them and the Night Fury.
"Your father be injured, boys," Stoic said. "Best you let Gothi and Astrid tend to him for now."
The three looked up at Stoic, then around to their father. Toothless warbled something. Stoic guessed it was the old tongue the dragon spoke of, since the boys tipped their heads and moved towards Hiccup and Gida seated near the stairs. Stoic smiled as Hiccup made a point to scratch each youngling's head. His smile grew as Sharpshot hopped off his shoulders and bounded over to his brother. Stoic closed the door, then headed for Moondust sitting in the back corner. The things Hiccup called sensing lobes upon Moondust's head twitched and laid back. Stoic also felt himself under the scrutiny of all his sons, as well as their guests, except for Gothi, who had never turned her gaze from a tribesman in need of her healing. Stoic ignored the stares and placed a hand gently upon Moondust's head. The female stared up at him.
"Lass, I am sorry you had to endure what you did for coming here, but I am glad you be here. You be a hooligan now, and we take care of our own. I'm proud it be my son who took care of the one who hurt you, even if I be wishing he'd be letting me kill the fool myself."
Dad?"
Hiccup said. "Toothless killed him."
Stoic shifted so he could see Hiccup, but still kept his hand upon Moondust's head.
"I be knowing, Hiccup. Toothless be the one to kill that godless fool. Doesn't make my statement any less false. My son killed the one what hurt her."
Stoic took great pleasure in seeing his sarcastic human son stare at him with a dropped jaw. He took greater delight in Toothless's strangle-sounding warble. Sharpshot started cackling and Stoic joined him. Stoic turned back to Moondust and gently scratched her head. He then moved away and knelt next to Gothi. Toothless stared at him, eyes wide as they could go, it seemed. Stoic smiled.
"I be knowing you have a living father, Toothless, but you are my son, just as is Hiccup and Sharpshot. I be knowing you boys can call your father their grandfather. But I also be wondering if you let them call me their grandfather as well."
Toothless blinked.
You're serious?" "Aye, son. I've already declared Sharpshot as my boy in front of the council. Was set to name you my son and your boys as haddocks as well, but that fool decided to stick his nose where it not belong."
Stoic heard shuffling and saw Hiccup walk over.
"Dad, you really mean this?"
Stoic felt his heart freeze, and he sighed. Hiccup and Toothless had every right to disbelieve him, especially given all that had happened, both here before the war ended, and in Gida's cave that day. The gods decided to give everyone on Berg a second chance. Give Stoic a second chance. Stoic lifted his hand and placed it upon Hiccup's shoulder. With a gentle tug, he pulled his human son into a one-armed embrace and placed his other hand on top of his dragon son's head.
"I mean it. The records in the Great Hall already be showing you and Sharpshot as my boys. If and Toothless agrees, they be showing him as my third son and his boys as my grandsons."
Toothless shifted his head outside of Stoic's hand and laid it against Stoic's side. Hiccup wrapped his arms around his father. Stoic smiled as he heard both of his sons whisper thank you.
"No, boys," he whispered back. "Thank you. You both made this house a home. Your mother'd be proud."
Hiccup sat back.
"Given what Gobber says, I think Mum would be giving in to every whim of Toothless's sons had."
Stoic laughed, though it was tinged with the sadness he always felt when thinking of what might have been, if only that dragon had not taken Velka.
You'll be right.
He let Hiccup go and smiled as his human son did not move away the instant he was released. Toothless lifted his head. Stoic turned to Gothi, needing both to know and to get his mind off of his dead wife, and what she would do with the dragons as sons and grandsons.
So, my son be all right?
Gothi favoured him with a look he did not need Gobber to translate. Stoic grunted, shrugging his shoulders. He was a father. His son was injured fighting for the honour of a tribe mate. Gothi snorted but nodded her head. Stoic tipped his and then stood.
I best be going, he said. I only stopped by to bring the boys home and see about my sons. Hiccup, you and Toothless are to rest for the remainder of the day. Both of you earned it. Sharpshot, you can stay if and you wish. I'll send Sneaky by. Since it be looking like Hiccup and Astrid's chaperones be here, ain't no reason you intended Canny spend time with you two.
Thanks, Dad, Sharpshot said. Stoic smiled and with a wave to everyone, headed out of the door. He did not close it as Sneaky hovered just beyond. Stoic chuckled.
Go on in, lass. Sharpshot be in there too.
Sneaky chittered and flew in. Stoic then shut the door and headed across to the Great Hall. There were records that needed to be updated. Stoic grinned and whistled a merry tune as he walked. Now that he had his sons and grandsons, he could turn his attention to getting his third boy realizing what sat in front of him. Stoic chuckled as he opened the Great Hall doors. If someone told him back before the autumn that by winter he would be conniving a way to pair up two dragons, he knew he would have tied the fool to a ship's mast and shoved them off of Berg. Now, Stoic knew of nothing that seemed more fun than playing matchmaker for Toothless.
That did just happen, right?
Hiccup asked when the door finally closed. Astrid stood and walked around. She pulled Hiccup into a hug. Gyda had been right. Hiccup flourished under the love and attention of everyone. But he remained that 15-year-old teenager that not too long ago had been ignored and shunned. He had been a boy desperate to know his father loved him and was proud of him. That Stoic accepted Toothless and Sharpshot and did not disavow their claims of brotherhood to Hiccup was one thing. That Stoic claimed the dragons as his own sons alongside of Hiccup was another thing entirely. Astrid knew how overwhelmed Hiccup felt right then. She smiled when Hiccup enclosed her in his arms. Your family's whole now, she whispered.
No, Hiccup whispered. Sneaky isn't in it yet.
His next words sent shivers down Astrid's spine.
You're not in it yet, my love.
Hiccup, we should continue. Astrid sighed as Gyda spoke. She knew that it was important for Hiccup to learn about his new abilities, but she did not want to let him go. She did not want him to let her go. Not after that comment. The voice sounded unsure and soft. We are wondering something. Astrid looked over Hiccup's shoulder. She saw Toothless's Nada youngling staring at Hiccup, then his father, then back to Hiccup. Astrid reluctantly released Hiccup so he could turn and face the youngling.
What are you wondering? Hiccup asked.
If you and Sharpshot are our uncles, the Nada began, still sounding soft and unsure, though his brothers rubbed their heads against him, cooing in what sounded like an encouraging manner. Then the tiny fang female and the other female will be our aunts, right?
In time, yes, Hiccup said.
All three younglings turned to look at Moondust. The Nada looked back to Hiccup. Does that mean, since she's in here, that she'll be our mother? End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed this one. Dragon Translator. How many favourite chapters can you make me have in one series of fics? Oh my god, that was so cute! So heartwarming. Stoic fully adopting Sharpshot and Toothless. I know he said it was Sharpshot, but this is the official announcement, basically. Oh my god, I love that so much. And now he is just walking through Burger, whistling away, planning to be matchmaker for Toothless. I love that. I can picture that. Oh my god, I love it so much. And Astrid being there to hug Hiccup because he's basically in shock over what just happened. Ah, I love this fic. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified for whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals, and I'm Mono Vals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.